The best racing of the year is here. We've got back-to-back-to-back races in the Persian Gulf, kicking off with the AlUla Tour, Crosswinds, Rampas, sprints at high speed, mirror building coming up in a few days. This is the Al Manshia train station sprint stage, and there were echelons predicted, heavy crosswinds in the open terrain here. Yes, there's a bit of runoff on the side of the road. Yes, the roads are consistently wide without too many corners all the time, but there was strong crosswinds today, and we saw the nervousness picking up. The team started to get to the front. There was a feed station. Bahrain victorious, move over from the right to the left-hand side here, and then Quick Step and Picnic Post and L get squeezed where there actually isn't. There's a hard barrier, unfortunately for them. Not in other parts of the stages. There's just they could run off into the gravel, and that is in fact Fritz Bisterbos, who is like gravel vice world champion, but he hit that hard barrier. And you see Vara van Geleva, he crashed in that crash, and he came back and kicked off the second round of echelons, put the team on his back. He's got a broken leg, but he put his team on his back though, and he's gonna kick off for Soudal Quickstep. We've got Lawrence Rex there, Classics specialist, new signing. So pretty impressive from Van Geleva to pick himself up off the dirt and continue on. But Jan Christen, he hits the dirt, or the tarmac in fact. He gets involved in a crash when the crosswinds were literally about to kick off, the worst possible time. The Total Energies rider has a few choice words for him after Christen drops his bike to the ground unceremoniously. He's shaking his head. He was the heavy GC favourite before the race, and you know, when you look at the way the peloton's formed from the overhead shot and you look at the front-on shot with the big boys absolutely sending it, you think it's going to be difficult for Christen to come back. He does get into the cars pretty quickly though, with 42.5 Ks to go, and he's slingshotting in and out of the cars, which by the way is totally fine. You're allowed to, once you're in the convoy, go in and out of the cars, and that's what he's doing. He's trying to get back to the peloton as quickly as possible. Fortunately for Christen, the split is perfect in that G1 goes, and you don't know who's in it, so everyone's stressed, UAE are chasing. G1 goes without that second group here. I think if this second group had stayed with G1, he would have had much, much bigger problems because there would have been GC riders in there, and then the teams would have fully committed. As it stands, it's a smaller group of about 15 riders with almost no GC riders. There's Mark Donovan, but there's no Garofoli, no Double, no Seb Berwick. It's really just the sprinters, and you have Gaviria, Milan, Dries de Bont's kind of a guy who might get over Skyview's okay on stage 5. You've got Kirsch alongside Fretin. Quickstep have Rex, but then why would a lot of these teams continue with Milan or invest too much? So UAE get Christen back. They get set to chasing with Modern Adventure Pro Cycling, their first race. There's more, similar, waves across the road, but here there was no hard gutter, so they were able to go into the road. And as you see, there's a bit of games going on. They had 30 seconds. The chase was, pretty strong from behind, or committed, but they weren't as strong as in front. But who wants to keep rolling with Johnny Milan? You want to make his lead out work. So some games started. Timo de Jong's there with Fabio Jakobsen. Bauhaus is there, as I said. Sambarini's probably the best GC guy, along with Donovan. He came from Arkea Conti last year, but Christen crashes again. We didn't see how this happened. He goes down harder this time with more skin off, and now with 15 Ks to go, with the peloton in full chase, you think, all right, this is his GC. Absolutely done. He tells the motorbike to go away, because you see now suddenly they're rolling through again in the peloton. Christen's over a minute behind. How's he going to close that? Well, the answer was a lot of it behind the back of the car. He's trying to get to the convoy. If you get to the convoy, that's where his teammates are. Then you're kind of safe. Then you're fine unless you get barraged. But Niels Eckhoff, don't watch this video, Niels Eckhoff. Don't watch it. Joshua Tarling, don't watch this video, because Christen, he is able to get back to the Peloton. The motorbikes or the commissaires are telling him off for, I think, holding the car or sheltering behind the car. But yeah, they're sending it in front, so you still think, how's he going to make it back? It was Fedorov for Astana. Modern Adventure Pro Cycling looking pretty handy, actually, for their first race. Donovan's trying to keep things going because he knows if he gets a minute, like, he's not going to lose maybe a minute on Skyviews. But now Christen, he gets back to his teammates in the convoy with Johansson and I think Novak. And this, as I said, going in and out of the cars with your teammates, this is allowed. You see this all the time. It's when you're not in the convoy, you're not allowed to shelter. So we'd see if Christen would get a penalty, but if the other option is not making it back to the convoy at all and losing a minute and a half, which he probably would have, then you're completely out of GC, so you may as well try to get back to the convoy whichever way you can. And now it's too late to catch this group, or is it? Cofidis start the lead out for Fretin. Timo de Jong goes on a late flyer, which was actually pretty strong and good move. He won a Tour of Holland stage ahead of Laporte and Kubis at the end of last year and then got a contract with Picnic Post NL, but he's closed down by the leader of Cofidis, which is Hugo Page, who they just signed, I think. Milan's on the wheel. Unfortunately, the lead up from Page is too long and too good because then Milan's delivered perfectly. Fretin is not able to come out of his wheel, although even if, Milan could have probably gone at 300, 350. Would have still won. Looked like he had plenty in the tank. Does his sprint position look any different to you? He's focused a little bit on being a bit more aero. To me, does look a little bit more bent in the arms, and he's trying to get his chest down a bit more. I had a look at how it compared it to last year, so I think it's a bit less upright where he was nodding his head. So I think there's maybe a small change, but his dimensions mean that it's always going to be hard to be as aero as someone like Ewan or Brennan or people like that, or Cavendish. Christen did get a 20-second penalty, so that makes GC more interesting, I would say. He's got to be aggressive and take that time back on the uphill finishes. Milan wins the stage ahead of Fretin, Moschetti, Rex, Mazin, Page, Bauhaus, Gaviria, Timo de Jong, and Makutis. Here's what the big man had to say after the stage.
Jonathan, Milan, what a way to start your season with this victory, but you really had to dig deep for that one, huh?
Oh yeah, super happy to start really in a good way this new 2026 season. Yeah, in the end, I think if I have to say the truth, it comes out as more tough than I was expecting. I was expecting some echelons, but then I was thinking that maybe we'll come back together, and I was also thinking in the end that the big group will catch us, but yeah, we had to push a lot to stay in the front. My teammates, they really did impressive. Christian and Jakob was super strong when he was up there in the front. Yeah, I have to say also thanks to all the others that they support me for all during the stage before. Yeah, and in the end, not that many other words. I'm just super happy.
Thanks for watching. As always, very excited for the season. Shame Tim Merlier wasn't here because then it would have been a mega battle in the crosswinds. I'll see you with the recap tomorrow. Ciao, ciao.